February 21, 1991, Wall Street. A routine federal auction of 5-year U.S. Treasury notes concludes, unaware that a single investment banking house has secretly acquired an illegal 86% market corner on the country's national debt. The market believed it was participating in a fair, open bidding process. The entire multi-billion-dollar distribution was a systemic manipulation executed from a single trading desk. The architect of the operation was Paul Mozer, the hyper-aggressive head of the government trading desk at Salomon Brothers. To prevent any individual firm from manipulating the American economy, federal rules strictly capped a single bidder at 35% of any given Treasury auction. Mozer circumvented this layout by forging multi-million-dollar bids using the unauthorized names of his elite, unwitting institutional clients, submitting them to the Federal Reserve Bank as genuine orders. By accumulating an unmonitored stranglehold on the national debt supply, Mozer single-handedly engineered a predatory market squeeze. He had discovered a perfect structural loophole. In an industry that relied blindly on the prestige of major Wall Street firms, you can forge government documentation without anyone checking the clients. To maintain an unverified multi-billion-dollar fraud against the federal government, Mozer targeted a critical operational vulnerability: the regulatory laziness of the Treasury Department and the market's complete reliance on unverified trading data. In the early 1990s, cross-referencing federal bids with actual corporate clients required manual, multi-agency audits. Government inspectors blindly assumed Salomon Brothers' paperwork was legitimate because of the firm's elite market status, entirely skipping direct verification of the underlying customer authorizations. Mozer exploited this systemic compliance gap by systematically suffocating his competitors. The administrative logistics were fastidiously executed. When the Treasury notes were issued, Mozer withheld his massive, illegally acquired inventory from the public marketplace. This artificial scarcity created a severe structural trap for short sellers, competing traders who had promised to deliver Treasury notes they did not yet physically possess. To make his corner profitable, Mozer forced these competing firms to buy the notes directly from Salomon Brothers at highly inflated, predatory prices just to avoid going bankrupt. He had successfully turned the U.S. debt market into a private extortion ring. To the financial elite, a routine government auction had been visually and legally transformed into a closed-loop monopoly. The architecture of the deception sustained itself for months because Salomon's executive boardroom frequently praised Mozer's trading desk for generating unprecedented profits, completely blind to the reality that they were violating federal law. The system finally shattered due to a fatal, logical oversight: a routine paper trail. In April 1991, a compliance official at the Treasury Department noticed a statistical anomaly. A major institutional client of Salomon Brothers appeared to have submitted a massive bid that pushed their total allocation past the legal limit. The regulator sent a standard warning letter directly to the client. The client looked at the document and realized the math had completely collapsed. They had never authorized Salomon Brothers to place a bid on their behalf. Mozer had accidentally left a physical paper trail for a transaction that did not exist in the real world. The client contacted the authorities, launching an immediate federal investigation into Salomon's bidding practices. Federal prosecutors and SEC investigators bypassed the complex financial explanations of the traders, tracing the unauthorized electronic submissions and the internal memos that proved senior management had been warned about the fake bids months prior, but chose to hide the information to protect their profits. The exposure of the Treasury corner triggered an immediate systemic collapse across the global financial sector, threatening to destroy the credibility of the entire U.S. government debt market. When the scope of the fraud completely fractured the public trust, Salomon Brothers faced an existential execution. The firm's legendary chairman, John Gutfreund, was forced to resign in absolute public disgrace, and the Federal Reserve threatened to ban the investment bank from participating in future auctions, a corporate death penalty. The firm was only saved from liquidation by a sudden intervention from Warren Buffett, who stepped in as interim chairman to salvage the wreckage. He instituted strict corporate compliance standards and cooperated fully with federal authorities. Mozer stood trial in a federal court, pleading guilty to multiple counts of submitting false statements to the government. He was sentenced to 4 months in a federal penitentiary and hit with massive financial penalties. The Salomon Brothers scandal permanently altered the regulations of Wall Street auctions, forcing the implementation of automated, real-time electronic verification systems. It proved that the ultimate vulnerability of any financial system is not a complex algorithmic failure, but an industry that values the illusion of prestige over physical reality. It left behind an enduring rule for modern markets. If the greed is intense enough, a single operator with an unmonitored trading terminal can hijack a nation's debt right up until the science steps in.